Spiritual decline. Signs of the end. BD number 4390. July 30, 1948, spiritual decline is increasingly more noticeable, and this alone ought to explain to you the earthly adversity, for the latter is the only means which could wake people up and prompt them into changing their way of thinking. People only strive towards acquiring earthly possessions and allow themselves to be controlled by matter rather than the other way round, so that they would win in their battle against matter. Hence, I constantly bring the foolishness of their endeavors home to them by showing them the transience of earthly things. Yet less significant happenings are to no avail. The individual person change his thinking and ignores the life of his soul, for he only takes his earthly existence into account and has completely lost faith in an afterlife. Humanity is descending ever further, faith is becoming increasingly more superficial, and a bond with me, their God and Creator of eternity, ever more seldom. And this will become particularly evident in a short time. The day of a complete change in living conditions, the day when everything will experience a transformation, is coming ever closer, because my will is clearly moving into action. People will be unable to protect anything unless I protect it for them, and they will be defenseless in the face of my might and experience serious difficulties. But blessed is the difficulty if it only has an earthly effect on a person, if his soul is not in jeopardy, if the person has faith. Then he need not fear this earthly tribulation, then he will only be able to gain despite his earthly losses. But this will be the start of a trying time for unbelievers, for their loss of earthly possessions will cause them indescribable suffering, and they will have to give up all hope of regaining them. Spiritual possessions will be no substitute for them, for they don't strive for but reject them when they are offered to them. But this suffering has to befall earth. It is inevitable and only the prelude to the final event, to the complete destruction of the old earth, which will be experienced by all of you if I don't end your life prematurely, because I consider it favorable for your soul. The believer will see and recognize all signs of the end, the unbeliever will pass them by, he will only take notice of the earthly hardship and its effect on earthly life and increasingly turn away from God. And thus, there will soon be a separation between spiritually aspiring and utterly worldly-minded people, and this, too, will be so obvious that the spiritually awakened person will recognize the last days by this alone. The end is approaching with giant steps, and you will experience the end. Amen.